Hey there everyone, this is Nordic of Nordic Moon, and here we are with a Apex Legends video. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Apex Legends Season 2 and just some of the experiences that I've had thus far, which you'll be seeing playing in the background of the actual video itself. So, Apex Legends, it's a strange game for me because typically I do not like Battle Royale games, partly because I'm really bad at them, and partly because they feel very slow or very bland for the type of gameplay that I enjoy. However, Apex, when that came out, was something that felt a little bit different, and I think it was because of the fast-paced nature of the free running and the sliding, the fast-paced nature of the weapon fire, and the customization of the weapons as well as the interesting legends that you could actually play as. Which really struck me as something really cool, because all of the legends are slightly different, have their own abilities, have their own playstyles, but no legend is technically better than any other legend. You can become one of the best players using any of the legends. Some have upsides, some have downsides, but they're all really balanced out, and at the end of the day it's a game of skill, in the sense of, you know, pick the right weapons, have the right loadout, and just be quicker at the shot and more accurate than the person you're shooting at, which is really good. It follows the standard sort of, you know, Battle Royale style gameplay, i.e., you know, the ring or the area gets smaller and smaller as the match goes on. But everybody should know what Apex Legends is by now. Season 2 is where things really start to pick up. So the map has been completely revamped, as you'll be able to see during the jump sequences that are in the video, and that, you know, it's gone from being a very open and fairly, in some ways, sparse map through to now what is arguably a very densely packed map. Certain areas that were completely devoid of life are now absolutely teeming with life. You know, no more burnt, scorched earth areas. It's all regrown now. We've got new buildings that have appeared with research areas where the flyers have been captured. Leviathans are now, instead of just walking around in the ocean, they've now got onto the land. They're now actively walking across the map. Well, not actively walking, but they're stomping up and down and making small movements across the map as the match goes on, which is really interesting. You can actually use the Leviathans as a battle tactic, and if you're lucky, you may be able to get a couple of kills by having people squashed underneath the Leviathan's foot, which is really cool. And it adds a new dynamic, because it means now that the map is not only there for you to hide behind or to loot, it's there for you to use as a particular weapon as well if you want to do so. Season 2's also introduced the new ranked system as well, so now you can get ranked very much the same as you would in games like Overwatch, where you start out as bronze rank and then it runs from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and then Apex Predator. Haven't really played any of the ranked yet, but I am by no means probably ready to go into ranked matches right now, to be perfectly honest. As I said, I enjoy the game, don't profess to be very good at the game, I just enjoy it. You'll see in some of the footage sometimes I do get lucky and I manage to get one or two matches where I'll get a couple of kills or get a couple of lucky shots in, but on average I am the type of person who jumps in, dives, can spend a good 5 minutes collecting a crap ton of loot and get myself all set up just to get shot in the head and killed, you know, when we're down to the last 5 or the last 6 type of teams. On occasion, maybe final 3 if I'm feeling, or if I've been very lucky. So we've got now the ranked matches, but we've also got new dailies as well. So we have the daily challenges are back. That did start in Season 1, but it's going to be a more prominent feature in Season 2. So, you know, we have the dailies, but then you have sort of more static event type sort of requirements as well, that you can get extra bonuses from, which is not too bad. We also get a new legend as well, which I have unlocked. I saved up my points just to get Watson, who is the new legend. So I don't actually have Mirage or Octane or Caustic. There we go, Caustic. I actually forewent those 3 and saved up for Watson, because by the time I had enough points to unlock a legend, it was nearly Season 2. because I don't play it daily, and I don't play it a lot when I do play it. Only maybe an hour, 2 hours at most, if I'm feeling up to it and it's sort of a weekend. But overall, I've enjoyed Watson so far. Still not my main go-to, but she's definitely sort of one of the backups or reserves that I like to use quite a lot. So for anybody who doesn't know who Watson is thus far, which I think most people will, but for the benefit of those that don't, so Watson is a highly defensive style legend. So we have Gibraltar and we have Watson, who are very, very highly defensive, as well as Caustic. Now, Caustic and Watson are very similar in the sense that they can lay traps. However, Caustics are poison area of effect traps, whereas Watsons are area of control electric fences, or Tesla fences. So she is able to lock out certain areas, so you can put them in front of doors, or you can surround an entire area with them if you're fast enough, and lock people into them, crisscross them, zigzag them. And basically what happens, if an enemy gets too close to them, they start taking electrical damage, so every time they pass through them, it takes damage. Which, combining that with being able to also shoot the enemy at the same time, means you can really, really panel down on an enemy and get them knocked down pretty quickly, which is fantastic. She has got, as recent news has sort of showcased, some major flaws, i.e. as soon as you trip one of the fences, you are able to see where she is on the map, which means that she can't really do much in terms of flanking maneuvers, so setting up a trap and then going to flank, because she can be seen, which is a huge downside. However, one potential upside is if you are in an where if the enemy already knows where you are, you can set up one of these fences on to cut across a staircase. And if you cut across the staircase, it means that the person is stuck behind the staircase, taking damage, and then you can lay fire into them as well, so they get down really, really quickly. So you can use it quite offensively, and as well as at the beginning, sort of start game, as soon as you've got the cooldown is gone and you can start laying fences, you can actually punch people into the fences, which will then obviously do 30 damage from the melee punch, as well as the damage from the fence, and on average it actually kills a legend doing that, depending on how far into the match you are. So obviously, you know, it's a very early game type scenario, or if you've had a bit of a dogfight for a while and then the opponent's quite low on health and has no armor, then you can get away with trying to do that. So she can be played offensively as well as defensively, but she is designed to be a defensive legend, the same as Caustic and Gibraltar. She does have, as her ultimate, basically a shield charge. So it acts as a bubble, so it's an area of effect, and any of your team that are inside this bubble will get an active shield charge, so the shields will keep recharging, so which is really, really great when you hunker down, you know, put put electric fences around everything, you know, get this bubble going. It means that any damage that you take, if you can then hide behind cover, you can then get a free shield charge without having to use any of your shield cells. Shield cells really just there for, you know, dire emergencies, which means your resources last a lot longer. Granted, the both the fences and her ultimate can be taken out by the opponent by shooting it and causing it damage, and then it explodes. But it just means that you get this ability to hunker down, especially late game. You can hunker down and have that little bit of extra survivability that you wouldn't normally have with a lot of other legends. Obviously, there's a new weapon as well, so there's a new legendary weapon. It is a submachine gun. It's the L-Star, which is from Titanfall 2, which obviously Apex Legends is in the same universe, which is why you will see these crossovers all the time. And it is sort of an energy-based weapon. It has quite a high rate of fire. It can do quite a lot of damage. Does have quite a bit of recoil, as does most energy-based weapons, unfortunately. Which means that when I use it, it's usually a spray and pray tactic, which isn't normally the best thing to do. But I have managed to get a good few kills with it, which you will have seen, potentially a kill within the footage. I am recording this post recording, so I'm not watching the footage back fully. It's sort of sat in the background there. as I just splurge my mind. So yeah, so we've got this new weapon as well, the L-Star, which is another submachine gun, which is great. So it's another one to add. So now the legendary weapons are a submachine gun, a sniper rifle, and a shotgun, which is really really cool. I've The only one I haven't tried is the Mastiff shotgun. I've tried the Kraber and I've tried the L-Star, which are both pretty good weapons. I do prefer sniping than being up close and personal, but submachine guns are definitely up there on my favourite list. So speaking of sort of the submachine gun light weapon era, it seems like a lot of the weapons that use light ammunition have undergone some sort of transformative change. The pistols and some of the submachine guns now have new enhancement modules which allow them to do more damage over time, things like that. Different ammo loadouts, which has really, really upped the game of some of the weaker weapons and some of the other weapons. So things, the Mozambique, which is the pistol-like shotgun, which everybody mocks. It seems to have had a buff as well. It does more damage per shot now, which is really good because it only had 3 shots to start with before reload. So it means that the gunplay has been switched up quite a bit. Some of the more traditional weapons that people always loaded out with are now being replaced with some more experimental loadouts, which are really, really offering up a new type of gameplay. It goes from quite slow-paced mid to long-range fighting to a lot more close quarters with high spray damage or pistol damage type weapons, which is quite interesting. A lot of people are now favouring the alternator, which before wasn't super favourable. It was great for early game, but wasn't really good mid game, and then definitely not worth it late game. However, it's now getting picked up more and more, and people are starting to use it for a longer period of time. Even end game now, if it's fully modded out, which is great because it means that you can learn new tactics, and people who used to like these weapons, who were struggling with them late game, are now actually getting the advantage of playing them late game without feeling like they're underkitted or underwhelming, which is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we've got a whole new host of skins as well, both for legends and for weapons. So currently, anybody who doesn't know, Twitch, as most people might know, Twitch does Twitch Prime, and you get Twitch loot, Prime loot from that. At the moment, you can get Prime loot for Watson, being the new legend, so as well as the L-Star, which is the new legendary weapon. Both of these are Twitch purple in nature, as you would imagine. Most skins do follow the Twitch brand colours, but it is unicorn nature, so galaxy unicorns. It looks absolutely amazing. I've yet to set Twitch Prime up to get it, but I do intend to, because I do want to use Watson as my reserve. Pathfinder's my main. May get quite a bit of mocking for that, but I do enjoy the whole grapple aspect, and it's one of the few things that keep me alive. That and my being able to set up Watson with unicorns, as well as have Pathfinder with Unicornucopia, which he currently has as his skin. Unicorn team all the way. But yeah, one other thing that I didn't mention actually, which I really should have done, is that inside the map as well, you do have the flyers, which started to show up at Season 1, the back end of Season 1. Well, these flyers now, you'll see them flying around the map, and they are carrying dead boxes or drop boxes. So you're able to shoot the drop box out or shoot the flyer down entirely, and usually it is either blue or gold, blue, purple or gold, so you can usually get some pretty good loot out of it. So it's an alternative way of getting loot, apart from the the rare loot drops, the loot that's found on the floor, the chests, as well as off the boxes from downed enemies. So it's just another dynamic there to look out for, and now you've got to look up as well as look around you as well. So there's another dynamic to that, which is absolutely great. But yeah, so I've been finding it as well that I feel like the matchmaking has been fixed quite well. Before, I would very frequently and I think this is before, because in Season 1 there was no ranked, so the matchmaking was a little bit more loose. And now that they have ranked, they have to tighten up the matchmaking significantly so that you go against people who are of the same skill level or the same stat level as you. There's a lot of facts and figures that go into determining what rank you are in, as well as the matchmaking process, as is in all competitive play games. However, I feel like the matchmaking has been fixed quite heavily, which is great, because I've gone from being in matches, and you still will be in matches with people with 1,000+ kills and whatnot, which is always going to happen. You know, the top tier or the upper tier people. But I find that happens a lot less now for me anyway. So I am definitely good at trash tier. Definitely the bottom, you know, borderline casual player. But that's because that's all the time I can give to the game. But it means that I'm playing against people who are of the same level. So I don't go into a match, drop, and immediately get, you know, headshotted and killed immediately, and then the match lasts 0.5 seconds. I actually do get to have a match which typically will last between 5 to 10 minutes, or even right the way down to the final 3 or the final 2, which could be 15 minutes, depending on sort of how long it takes to meet in the middle. So there is a lot of changes in that regard, and I think because of that, people are finding the game much more enjoyable, because they're getting put in matches which fit their playstyle a lot better, and they're playing off against people of similar skill level, so there's not too much of a ridiculous gap between them. As well as that, obviously there's going to be a run of series of events as well to unlock, you know, a chance to unlock special skins or special badges or special poses, etc, etc. Anybody who did do the update to Season 2 knew that it was about a 20 gig download. It was a huge update, therefore there's going to be a lot of trickle content, I believe. So that 20 gig is not everything that we currently see now. I believe that 20 gig, a lot of it is hidden away until later on in the season, as it slowly gets unlocked, and you know, there's a slight patch which gets downloaded from Respawn, which will then open up more content as the season progresses. And I think it is definitely a much more solid game than it was. There is still some horrendous bugs, however. I've been reading online via Twitter and via other news outlets as well, that there's some still very much game breaking mechanics, reload breaking issues, or finishes. Certain finishes cause the game to have major issues, crashing, stalling, or whatever. So that it's not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely think that it is come a long way. I did notice, however, that on day 1 of Season 2, every other match I was starting, I was getting kicked out of. I believe this is probably a server issue, and due to a surge spike in users because of the fact that Season 2 has just landed. That probably will trail off, as does all games. You know, a new expansion comes out of a game or a new season starts, then there's a massive spike. However, that's probably going to die down, or if not, then they need to increase servers just to accommodate, which I believe they probably will do, because they want to be kept sort of up there, near enough the top spot. You know, there was a small blip where they beat out Fortnite from the top spot again. However, as you can imagine, Fortnite have pushed that back, which is unfortunate, because Fortnite does need to be knocked down a peg or two. Just not because the game's a bad game. Obviously, it's not. Otherwise, it wouldn't have succeeded. It's mainly because, you know, it needs competition to help itself stay fresh or reinvent itself. The same as Apex does, the same as PUBG does, or any other game of its type. But that being said, that's my quick roundabout review of Apex Season 2. Hopefully, you found it somewhat informative. It's a little bit of what I want to talk about, and hopefully in the future there'll be videos of me actually live playing the game, which is what I fully intend on doing. So you'll get to see me dying, shouting, crying, and all the rest of it in live glory. Well, pre-recorded live glory. But anyway, thank you very much for listening, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video. This is Nordic of Nordic Moon. Goodbye.